Most people think the secret to getting a job referral is simple. Just ask for one. But if you ever try that, you already know what happens next. Awkward silence, polite excuses, or total ghosting. And here is the truth. You don't ask for referrals, you earn them. And it all starts with how you talk to people, especially in what's called an informational meeting. Because when you understand the psychology behind this 20-30 minutes conversation, you can turn a simple I am into a real job opportunity without sounding needy or fake. Today, I show you exactly how that works. But first, let's talk about the psychology that makes all of these possible. And it goes all the way back to Benjamin Franklin. Franklin once said, "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged." In plain English, when someone helps you once, they actually like you more. That's the Ben Franklin effect, and it's the hidden reason why informational meetings work. Let me give you an example. Imagine I'm going on a vacation and I ask you to take care of my dog. You agree, and now I owe you one. But here is a twist. By helping me once, you're now more likely to help me again in the future. Because your brain thinks, I must like this person. That's why I help them. That's what happens when you ask someone for time and information, not a job. It's a small favor that opens the door to a bigger one later. How do you actually do this in a conversation without sounding manipulative? That's where the 3 phases of an informational meeting come in. An ideal informational meeting follows a natural rhythm and should have 3 phases. Phase 1, small talk, to essentially build trust and comfort. And then you move on to the second phase, which is what I call curiosity and questions, to build connection and insight. And in the third and final phase, which I call the wrap-up, you leave with momentum, not awkwardness. And remember, each phase here is like a micro yes, building toward a bigger opportunity. Let's start at the very beginning, how to make small talk that actually leads somewhere. Small talk is your warm-up, your way of turning polite into personal. The way I recommend my clients to think about this if they're not expert on running and a small talk is through a 3-step structure. Step 1 in this structure is what I call warming the water. Essentially, starting human. How's your week going? Or questions like, how's your day been? If they're mentioned something like their dog, their weekend, their project, follow up. Show genuine curiosity. And remember, being interested is interesting. In the step 2 of the small talk, do what I call rewind the reel. Ask questions like, what's your story with company X? Or how did you get started here? Remember, people love sharing their journey. Stay with the topic while their energy is high. And in this step 3 and the last one in a small talk, do what I call peek behind the curtain. You can ask questions like, what are you working on these days? Or is this a busy time of a year for your team? When it comes to you, keep your answers short, no more than 2 minutes, and mirror their energy. If they're analytical, slow down. If they're enthusiastic, match that tone. Small talk isn't small. It's the emotional handshake before the professional one. Once that connection feels warm, you're ready to guide the conversation step by step using a structure called TIARA, developed by Stephen Dalton. Imagine the ideal situation: you're sitting in the actual meeting. You've got your note beside you, maybe a few questions jotted down. As they talk, you're listening, smiling, nodding. But in the back of your mind, you know where this is going because you are progressing through the 5 simple question type: trend, insight, advice, resources, and assignment. And that is the TIARA Framework. But the sequence here is key to turn an expert into your advocate. Let me break it down. T stands for trend. Start big picture by asking questions like, what trend is most impacting your business right now? That's your opener. You're showing professional curiosity, asking for perspective, not favors. Let them talk freely. Take a few notes. Keep the energy high. That's key. And once they share their big picture, you can zoom in on their personal experience. Now shift from industry to individual. Ask questions like, what surprises you most about your job? Or questions like, what's been your best professional decision so far and why? Here you're giving them space to reflect, not recite. They start revealing what they really value, and that's where trust is built. And when that trust is there, you can pivot the conversation from learning about them to learning from them. Now, once you got here in the informational meeting, you ask questions like, if you were me, what would you be doing right now to best prepare for a career in this field? This one is powerful. It reframes from expert to mentor. And mentors take a long-term interest in your success. And why does this work? Because once someone gives you advice, they want that advice to be good. It's called cognitive dissonance. People like to stay consistent with their own self-image. So they start quietly rooting for you to win. And remember, take notes. It signals you're responsible and professional, a safe referral candidate. Before the meeting ends, there is one deceptively small question that can open huge doors. Once you got here in the informational meeting, you need to ask questions like, what resources would you recommend I look into next? Or what next step would you recommend for someone in my situation? This is the pivot point of the entire meeting. It gently prompts them to think about your next move without you asking for a job. At this point of the IM, 2 things can happen. If they offer a referral, jackpot. If not, they might suggest someone else or a next step. Either way, you're moving forward. And remember, never ask directly, who should I talk to next at your company? Because that breaks the spell. Let them volunteer connections naturally. And before you close, there is one last question that gives you insider knowledge you can actually use later. Now, you end the informational meeting with something practical. You ask questions like, what project has had biggest impact in your organization? Or something like, have any project types become more popular recently? These are intelligence gathering questions. They show what kind of work the company values at the moment and help you align your resume later. For example, if you're applying to a consulting company and here they are focused on AI or cost reduction, you now know what keywords to highlight in your next application. By the end of TIARA, you have built rapport, gained insight, earned advice, and maybe even opened the door to a referral. All without asking once. Now, let's talk about how to finish strong. The final 5 minutes that decide whether the relationship ends or evolves. 2 possible scenarios could happen by the end of an informational meeting. Scenario 1, jackpot. They say, if you find a role you like, I'll refer you. That's amazing. Scenario 2 is that they do not offer anything instantly in that meeting, or they need to think or take action for the next step. And that is totally normal. And this is where most opportunity grow later. And here's how to close that meeting and leverage this opportunity properly. Part 1 is to close that IM meeting nicely. You can say something like, "Our time is up, but thank you so much for your time today. You have given me a lot to think about. I'll take the weekend to reflect on what you shared, but if I have a question later, would it be okay if I reach back out?" That simple sentence triggers what Robert Cialdini calls the commitment principle. They make a tiny promise, and people like to stay consistent with that yes. The meeting is over, but 7 working days later, you can send something like this. "Thanks again for your time last week. After reflecting on our chat, I'd love to explore this further. If you were me, how would you go about doing that?" If they give you a referral at that point or connect you with someone else, you have found a true advocate. If not, move on to your next contact. And remember, networking isn't luck, it's rhythm. And if you want to master that rhythm, how to write the perfect outreach, run successful IMs one after the other, follow up, and get referrals, insights that I share with my coaching clients, join my free masterclass linked below. Because once you learn how to talk to people the right way, doors don't just open, they stay open. Now, if you are not sure whether or not your LinkedIn profile is fully optimized to reach out to people, land IMs, and get referrals, or to be found by recruiters, click here to watch my next video that I show you how to do it.